Now, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council has continued to match its words with action with regards to increasing the country's non-oil exports with the establishment of trade houses across the African continent. The Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of the NEPC, Dr. EZRA Yakusak, reiterates this position at a meeting in Kenya, after which another trade house was commissioned in Nairobi. Business editor Tolulope Ogunjobi was there for TVC News.
Shows that Nigeria's non-oil exports stood at 1.4 trillion naira in 2022. A figure that the Nigerian Export Promotion Council believes can get better with further collaboration with African partners if trade is properly facilitated. This delegation of the NEPC are in Kenya to further cement the relationship by first meeting with the leadership of the Nigerian High Commission in Kenya. Led by the Chief Executive Officer of the NEPC, the message here is straight. Trade across the continent must be seamless and beneficial to both parties.
Based on the market intelligence report we've gathered, products that are required in Kenya are the ones that are going to be exported here. But one thing is very key. We are not going to bring any substandard products. We are not going to bring any product that is not well certified. We are not going to bring any product that is harmful. And of course, one of the products we intend bringing to Kenya, you'll be surprised, is the services sector. And that is the Nollywood and music. Because from what we've gathered, the Kenyans are just crazy about Nigerian movies, Nigerian films. So we are putting that together, all together. And it's part of the package we are going to bring to Kenya.
This is a very good example of how the public sector and the private sector can work together. This is a model for, I think, all the countries around Africa. The way we've put this together, where they've activated and are supporting us in a way that is not intrusive, allows us to be private sector driven, but also gives us access to the corridors of government, which is important as we try to go from, your own country into other countries.
The NEPC boss adds that more trade houses are on the way in other African countries, Asia and America. He maintains that this will drive non-oil exports across the board. This position was supported by the chairman of the Ancestral House Eastern African Limited, based in Kenya. The Nigerian High Commission commends the NEPC, adding that this is a step in the right direction.
Once you capture Kenya as the largest economy in East Africa, you have more or less captured all the countries in the region, like Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, South Sudan, and even Tanzania.
For some time, Nigeria has been grappling with the issue of forex scarcity. Meetings like this one at the High Commission shows that the country seems to be ready for business. Promoting non-oil exports would definitely help the country earn more foreign exchange and address some of these challenges. From Nairobi, Kenya, Tolulope Ogunjobi for TVC News.
And now moving on to this next report, there's the need to leverage on opportunities for partnerships and exploring the intersection of banks, telcos and the fintech space. That's a submission by players in the financial services solution space at the maiden Nigeria Fintech Forum in Lagos, and we have details of this and much more in this report. This gathering of stakeholders disrupting the financial solutions services sector recognizes one target, that is, driving deeper financial inclusion in Africa. In 2021, African fintechs raised up to $1.4 billion, with Nigeria taking the lead, raising as much as $800 million. For Nigeria to continue at such a pace, engagement within the ecosystem must take a more strategic stance to surmount current challenges.
We need to largely have these conversations that would help in spiking what is required to build this partnership across the various channels that are working within the fintech ecosystem.
You cannot deliver the right kind of growth to your business without creating the right customer-centric solutions and a seamless customer experience. And again, if you realize how most of these technology solutions or fintech solutions are, you will realize that almost every transaction requires more than one party to deliver that transaction to the end customer. And if any one of those chains is not delivering on their customer promise, then you will have poor customer experience.
Panel sessions touch on customer data protection, secured payment channels, and the need for supportive regulatory framework that builds investor confidence.
The way it's regulated today, I'm not sure it's over-regulated. I think it's appropriately regulated. There's a lot more that can be done, but they're also taking time to learn what's going on, the transformations that are happening, so that you don't have too many regulatory flip-flops. You make a policy today, you go back and withdraw it tomorrow.
Of course, we know that innovation will lead regulation, so that there will be some level of catch-up. However, it's important that there's collaboration to ensure that, one, that the participants are held accountable, but also that customers, consumers, investors are also protected.
With new disruptions such as blockchain solutions, more opportunities are opening up for borderless trade.
From a recent research by Meta, that's formerly Facebook, the metaverse is going to add about $40 billion in the next decade to the African GDP. So this is a space that is growing, is evolving every day, and the possibilities are enormous. And we have to ensure that we, incorporate and encourage this growth.
The catchword for the sector remains financial inclusion, hence competition must drive innovation. And now, determined to boost Nigeria's export and import trade through standard and quality products, the Standards Organization of Nigeria has entered strategic partnership with the Nigeria Ports Authority to tackle the influx of substandard products into the country. The synergy was underscored at a strategic meeting in Lagos that had both agencies agreeing on the need for effective collaboration to ensure result-oriented and seamless operations in the ports. They also want to promote speedy processing of goods for exports, maintaining that it would help to increase the nation's non-oil exports.
The market is flooded right now with products that are totally substandard. And one of the only ways we know to fix this problem, since 85% of products come through mostly our ports in this country, is to nip it in the bud before it gets in the market. For us to make sure we minimize the amount of products coming in and destroying our country and causing problems and destroying our industries. Because most of these substandard goods, because they are cheaper and they are more substandard, so all our local produce manufactured in Nigeria are not only too expensive or they are not marketable. So now we have factories closing. And unfortunately, right now in a country of 200 million, we don't have a single factory producing a single tire. All the tires are imported.
We understand the need to help the nation, the country, to ensure that all these standard goods come in, actually. We will work with you to ensure that that is achieved. We all have, like you said, we have had bad incidences, either as individuals or friends and relatives. Drugs coming in, substandard drugs, substandard electrical equipment, and so on and so forth. So we'll work with you to ensure that the mandate given to you to stop such imports actually is met also.
And moving on now to the international front, Asian stocks rose today, taking cues from a strong rally on Wall Street after robust economic data and upbeat corporate guidance boosted investor appetite. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan gained 0.65%. Japan's Nikkei rose 0.58%, while China's blue chips also added 0.55%, and Hong Kong Hang Seng Index jumped by 1.24 percentage points, with an index of its tech stock also surging about 2.29%. The US S&P 500 futures were about flat after the underlying index also jumped 1.56% overnight, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq surged 2.73% to a three-month peak. On the money market, the dollar hovered near its highs this week after the Federal Reserve officials continued to stress the policy tightening is far from over. However, Treasury yields remained down from two-week highs as investors stayed sidelined ahead of employment data this week that will guide the path of interest rates. And wrapping up business news at this hour, oil prices on the international market stabilized today, bouncing off the previous day's multi-month lows following data that signaled weak U.S. fuel demand. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude recorded a price surge of 1.14% to hit $91.21 per barrel. Brent crude now sells at $97.45 per barrel, registering an upward price margin of 0.69%. However, Bonny Light's performance still continues with its losing streak, with a price drop of 3.25%, selling at $118.10 per barrel. And for the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers offer $104.90 per barrel, recording a sharp decline of 1.82%.